Welcome to The Explainer. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like there's some kind of hidden force controlling what you do? You know, no matter what you consciously decide, something else seems to take over? Well, today, we're diving into a really powerful idea from the book Upgrade that explains exactly what that force is, and more importantly, how you can start working with it.
This metaphor right here is the key to everything. Just think about that gap between deciding you're going to be super productive and then, an hour later, you find yourself just scrolling on your phone. This image, it gets right to the heart of that internal fight.
Oh, we've all been there. You tell yourself, okay, today I'm going to be confident, or I will stay totally calm in this meeting. But then your body and your mind seem to get a completely different message, and all of a sudden your heart is pounding out of your chest.
I mean, this story from the book just nails it. The author walks into his acting class feeling totally prepared, totally confident, right? His conscious mind is steering the ship. But then, bam! A huge wave from his subconscious just hits him out of nowhere. His body rebels, and that invisible storm completely flips over the tiny boat of his good intentions.
So the trick is to realize there are these two forces at play. On one side, you've got your conscious mind. That's the boat. It's carrying all your goals, your plans, your willpower. But on the other side, you've got the subconscious, the ocean. It's this vast, powerful thing with all these hidden currents of old programming and fears that can just toss that little boat around whenever it wants.
So, the author's search for answers to this whole internal struggle led him to this really pricey seminar. And there, he saw this fascinating experiment that shows just how easily our own brains can betray us, making us miss things that are literally right in front of our faces.
Okay, so the setup is super simple. You watch a video of people passing basketballs, and you get one crystal clear job. Count the number of passes the team in white makes. They even ramped up the pressure, telling everyone that almost nobody gets it right on the first try.
And here it is, the mind-blowing part. While everybody was laser-focused on counting those passes, their brains completely, and I mean completely, filtered out a person in a full gorilla costume who walked into the middle of the game, pounded on their chest, and then just walked away. It was impossible to miss, and yet almost everyone missed it.
So this actually has a name. It's called inattentional blindness. But the real lesson here isn't about basketballs. It's about our own lives. We get so focused on our goals, our career path, our to-do list, that we become totally blind to these gorillas of opportunity, like a new business idea or a person we should connect with that walk right past us every single day.
So after showing everyone just how flawed our perception really is, the seminar made its big pitch. They could teach you the secret to overcoming this blindness, to rewire your brain for the low, low price of $2,000.
But the author, he listened to his gut. He walked out, did a little research on his own, and found out that the core secret of that $2,000 seminar, it was all available in a book by the original researcher. And the cost of that book? Just $25.
All right, so let's get into the most profound discovery from that book. This is where it all comes together. This is where we stop getting tossed around by the waves and actually learn how to navigate the ocean.
This simple question, this is the key that unlocks a completely new level of awareness and, frankly, control. Because think about it, for most of our lives, we just assume the answer is yes. But what if it's not?
And here's the answer that changes everything. You are not the thoughts of fear or the feelings of anxiety. You aren't the storm. You're the huge, unchanging sky that the storm clouds just pass through. You are the awareness that's just witnessing it all.
This is what's called the observer self. It's your true inner navigator. Remember the author's stage fright? His body was trembling, right? But he said a part of him felt perfectly calm inside, just watching it happen. That calm watcher, that was his observer self. It's the part of you that can see all the chaos without getting swept away by it.
Learning how to access this calm, observant part of yourself, that's the critical upgrade. That's what lets you finally take the wheel of your own boat, understand the weather patterns of your mind, and steer with confidence no matter what kind of storms pop up.
So you might be asking, okay, that sounds great, but how do I actually start strengthening this inner navigator? How do we take the wheel in a real practical way? Well, it all starts with the words you use. Specifically, the words you use with yourself.
So get this, that's a rough guess of how many thoughts your mind creates every single day. Most of them are totally unconscious and just repetitive. They create this constant inner conversation that for most people is incredibly critical and negative.
This part is so important to get. Your subconscious mind takes your words literally.
It doesn't understand sarcasm. So when you say something like, ugh, I always mess things up, you aren't just blowing off steam. You are issuing a direct command to your own operating system to make sure that you do, in fact, mess things up. So that brings us to a simple, practical tool you can start using the second this is over. It's really your first step in consciously rewriting all that old negative code.
It's a really powerful two-step process. First, you use your observer self to just catch the negative thought when it pops up. No judgment, you just notice it. And second, you consciously replace it with a statement that's more accurate and, frankly, more helpful.
Let's look at some real examples here. Instead of the automatic program, I'm so stupid, you catch it and you replace it with, I made a mistake. I'm human and I can learn from this. Instead of that hopeless feeling of, I can't handle this, you replace it with the much more actionable, okay, this feels overwhelming, but I can handle it one step at a time. Every single one of these is a small but really powerful shift.
And it's really important to know, this is not about fake positivity or lying to yourself. The real goal here is to fundamentally change your relationship with your thoughts. Every single time you catch and replace one, you're making that observer self stronger. You are literally forging new neural pathways in your brain, making that more supportive thought the new default.
You know, the most powerful takeaway here is that you are not the old program running in the background of your mind. You are the programmer. You have the power to write new code, and you can start right now. So the real question is, what's the first line of code you're going to replace?